Maybe what I've enjoyed being here the most is just being still and kind of observing the landscape change.
If I could have a wish, I'd wish that we had like double the time that we could duplicate each day.
Täällä on tämmönen tuuletusoperaatio käynnissä. Pitää hyötyä lämpimistä ja aurinkoisista päivistä ja tuoda kaikki ulos.
I'm Sohvi. I live here on the boat. I work at the Arctic Center at University of Lapland. I'm a postdoctoral researcher.
My name is Juho, and right now we are here on the west coast of Greenland, overwintering in the ice. So overwintering means that in the autumn you drive the boat somewhere where you know that ice is going to form. Then you wait for the location to freeze up and you will be stuck in that location for the whole winter.
Lounas tulee.
Ja et sit valitetaan kylmä täällä. Vähän tuulee.
There's probably somewhere between 0 to 2 or 3 boats overwintering in the northern hemisphere, somewhere in the Arctic each year. Leisure boats like ours.
Nova. Woof.
Anna sen perällä. Näette auringosta.
In sailing, and especially expedition sailing, if you have big budgets, you can get like really expensive specialized boats.
Here we go. It's the first real work day here on the boat, and now we are starting here on the outside.
So our boat is just a normal ocean-going boat. She does have an aluminum hull, but she's not specifically made for something like this. We bought it in California. She had been abandoned at the boatyard and had sat there on the hard for 15 years. And we bought her for $50,000, and then we spent 5-6 months fixing her up and pouring all of our knowledge and sweat into the refit. When we left from California, we first sailed to Alaska and we spent 2 winters there. We were slowly also preparing ourselves and checking the boat to make sure that everything works. You just want to make sure that you are familiar with everything and you have confidence in the boat. And then after that we sailed the Northwest Passage to Greenland. So from Alaska over the top of North America and Canada through the Inuit homelands into Greenland.
We chose this nice, beautiful, cold day to get out of Sisimiut, and the simple reason is that the boat is in complete shambles. We are loaded up with 6 months worth of food, fuel, dog food, emergency equipment, ski equipment, all kinds of stuff. So we cannot risk getting into any bad seas with the boat loaded down like this.
In there, inside this small bay is our spot. You can't really see it very well, but it is there. Sophie, are you excited?
I know, it's my first time here. Looks very pretty.
So this fjord is called the Kangerlussuaq tulek. I don't really want to butcher the indigenous pronunciation.
So this bay is obviously very tight. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna anchor with a very short scope and then we're gonna start running the shorelines. Tack.
So we were trying to find a place where the ice doesn't get like overly thick. We are not all the way in northern Greenland.
All right, the secondary anchor also ready. We still have a bit of a problem with these rocks here. The main line might shave against these rocks, but you can't prepare for everything. So if the main line snaps, then you just have to deal with it when it happens.
The special thing about this place is that there are large boulders ashore that we can tie onto.
Whoa!
Because a lot of the places that we scouted out beforehand had just sandy shores. And if you don't have large boulders or large anchor points, then you cannot tie the boat onto anything.
It is a little bit sketchy, but I am going to take the dinghy and go and check the anchor points. I just want to make sure that the main line is not wrapped around like a sharp rock or something. So here's our line now. Well, it's off the water now for sure. Looks good.
We also wanted to have a place that's relatively small, so that the bay is relatively small, so that the ice doesn't have that much space to move. Because the most dangerous and difficult time, from what we know, is when the ice is building up in the autumn and then when it breaks up in the spring, because during these periods you might have large ice floes moving around.
Nava, are you worried about Sohvi? What do you think? Is she going to survive?
Originally we wanted a spot that would have like some fresh water, really close to a lake or maybe really close to a stream that stays open throughout the winter, so we have easy access to fresh water. We don't have easy access to fresh water here, so we have to melt snow. We did not want to be somewhere that's like next to settlement or a town. We wanted to be somewhere remote, but we still wanted to have some kind of an access to a town. We are now quite close to Sisimiut, which is the second biggest town in Greenland. Although from here to get to Sisimiut you have to travel over the mountains and over the sea ice, so it's not a short trip, it's actually quite an adventure to get there. When you take all of these factors into account, then you really are limiting your choices. There are actually not that many spots like that in the whole Greenland.
Really beautiful day today, and it is getting quite cold, so we think that the ice might be strong enough to walk on, and we will give it a try. Sohvi, are you ready to go?
I am, let's go.
So we are wearing our dry suits, and I think if we go directly behind the boat and walk onto the old ice, then we should be good. Okay, this is a tutorial on how to put a diaper on your Greenland dog. Nova, kato vaippa! I will keep feeding her some treats non-stop. We are using normal diapers, just they are
the wrong way around. The backside is facing the front, and you have to cut a hole for the tail. Arr. Nova is going crazy, she loves the snow.
We've always talked about dogs with Juho, and we both really like dogs, but we also knew that we wanted to come to Greenland. And to Greenland you're not allowed to bring any dogs actually. Here they have their own dog breed, the Greenlandic dog, which is actually the oldest breed in the world. We knew that if we had a dog, we then couldn't come here.
So we now have a Greenland dog. She's called Nova. We fostered or adopted her from a complicated ownership and living situation, because here the dogs, they are not considered pets.
Hey, Nova, hey.
So she was likely going to be put down.
Älä mene sinne jäälle. Don't go on the ice yet. It's not thick enough. We are busy keeping the dog busy because Nova won't be able to go ashore today. So we try to find her something to do so that she gets her mental stimulation. Otherwise she will start being a little rascal.
Originally we kind of thought that she's gonna be a great polar bear guard, and she's used to living outside, so probably she wants to live outside here as well. And now she's a full inside dog, and she sleeps in our bed, and now she's like our house dog or boat dog, our little Novasaurus. She looks a little bit like a dinosaurus sometimes.
Tassu. Hyvä.
Joo, ja Nova minne ylös. Joo.
Hyvä! Hyvä Nova!
Maissa ollaan.
Maissa ollaan.
Tarviikohan enää naskaleita?
Hieno keppi, hieno. Good morning. During the next few days we will turn our boat into an igloo. Right now it is very windy. Whoa! It truly got windy, and one interesting to note is that the boat is now floating free, which is actually not that bad for us. It's kind of nice to have the boat floating free, but then on the other hand, all of this slush, it'll just freeze when it gets cold again, so it will be thick ice around the boat here again afterwards. How convinced are you about this plan?
Not convinced at all.
So there's water on top of the ice here now, and the snow is very wet. The plan is, or at least was, to make a big pile here and then move it onto the side of the boat.
We always try to manage our risks in everything that we do, and the special thing about overwintering is that there's not so much knowledge available for it. Few people do it every now and then, but there's no manual or an encyclopedia that you could read and then go like, okay, this is what I need to do to be as safe as possible. So there's a lot of unknowns in this. So that's what has made me nervous. We are these kind of people that we always try to acquire as much knowledge as we can before we get into these things. But overwintering was a bit of a question mark. The concrete risks would be the boat or the hull getting crushed by the ice, especially if the ice moves in the autumn or in the spring. Maybe not the hull itself getting completely crushed, but it might damage your propeller or your rudder. I think those are more realistic risks. Then there's the risk of personal injury. Doesn't have to be anything bad, but maybe you're melting snow, you are boiling large amounts of water, you get large burns from hot water, or you really break a bone, or larger injuries. They could be really bad because rescue is very limited here.
Muista pestä korvan taustat.
Then there's the risk of fire, because we do have a lot of electrical equipment here, and we are continuously having a fire burning in our diesel stove. Then some smaller risks would be some of the equipment failing, mechanical failures and so on, but we are well prepared for things like that, so we have spares or doubles of almost everything.
On vaan mukava ilma. Siinä varmaan pitää tätä.
Koiran ilma.
On kyllä aika lämmintä.
We have provisioned the boat with 6 months worth of food and heating fuel. We have most of that stuff inside the boat, but now we also have an emergency depot on the shore with the most important emergency equipment. There's a locator beacon, winter clothing, emergency flares and some clothing and some food and so on and so forth, so we could survive for a little bit here. One of the risks is always polar bears, of course, because this is polar bear country. But when choosing this location, we wanted to go into an area that doesn't have that many bears. And here bears are rare. If there's a bear, then it's a bear that has got lost off the sea ice.
Okei, mä ammun eka yhden vaan tonne lumikasaan, että toimiiks tää ollenkaan. Okei. Toimii.
So for polar bears, we usually carry some emergency flares with us just to scare them off. And then at the boat, we do have a polar bear protection weapon that in this area we don't carry with us when we go hiking, but it is at the boat. We practice with it every now and then.
Kaikki karhut meni, mutta en kyllä silti haluaisi lähteä tositilanteessa testaamaan. So we're not shooting anything like recreationally or hunting anything, but we have some shots for potentially rabid Arctic foxes, because the Arctic foxes, over half of them here have rabies. So I don't know. Some people have problems with them sometimes. We haven't seen any so far. I think it's because they are afraid of Nova's smell. So even though Nova might not be guarding us from the polar bears, she's probably guarding us from the Arctic foxes.
Quite often people ask us that, isn't the biggest risk of becoming crazy or getting cabin fever and so on. But I think it's not really that different from the life that we normally live. Since we have internet, we still do talk to our friends and family and so on. So it doesn't really feel like we are that isolated as we are. Also, we're Finnish, so we don't maybe need that much social interactions.
So Greenland is a big country, but the population is quite small. So when we came here and we talked with the locals, we asked them about overwintering. Quickly, pretty much everyone here now knows that there's a Finnish couple overwintering in the ice. The local community have been like really helpful, and the people do know where we are if there is an emergency.
Wait, I'll show Vinny.
It's not something that we are ever planning or wanting to use, but I think that's just more of a cool thing to notice that the people are really caring, and in some ways I think there is some kind of a connection, you know, between us and the locals. We have a lot of common things to talk about, you know. They go hunting and fishing on the ice all the time, and they know what's happening with the currents and so on. Greenlandic people, you know, they are special people because they still have like this really rich cultural experience and just this knowledge of land and the sea.
Niin, siinä Proot ajelee. Tuo pikkunen on parempi kuin musta ikinä tulee.
Bit of a reality check here. Not much snow left because the last few days we have had super strong warm winds. Yesterday the winds were really strong, blowing around 18 to 20 meters per second, and it's been +7 to +8 degrees Celsius. So you can just imagine how quickly that melts all of the snow. And well, you can see the effect here now. It's still really warm even though the winds are dying down a little bit. It's not normal here to have this kind of weather in the middle of the winter. It is now February. It's supposed to be, you know, -25 degrees. That's like the more common temperature around this time of the year.
Well, we actually live like a pretty normal life here. We both work, so of course a big part of the day we just sit on our laptops and do different kind of work. Of course, sometimes it's also a little bit tricky trying to combine the whole sailing life and working academic articles. Well, we've been doing this for so long, so it's just how my work life is. I think one of the keys to our relationship is that we have pretty different sleeping rhythms. So I wake up in the morning and then I go to bed at like 10. And then Juho, he likes to work during the nights and he comes to bed later, maybe at 2 a.m. or something. So then he has his sort of me time during the night and I have mine during the morning. So we both have this like time period when we are kind of alone, even though like of course the other person is sleeping next to you, but it's always been like that and it's an important part of living with someone in these close quarters.
Joo, hyvä. Hyvä. Hyvä Nova, tosi hyvä Nova.
We kind of try to live here according to the weather. So when the weather is nice, then we go out and do nice things. And then when the weather is not so great, then we work a little bit more.
Nyt tuntuu ihan semmoiselta keväältä.
Mihinkään se koira meni?
Tuolla se tarkkailee. Jotain, mitä vain koirat näkee. Nää vaan sun pitää nyt vähän sun energiaa hillitä.
Whoa!
Okei, kippis. Oliko se nyt 9 päivää?
Kippis. Vielä elossa.
No, aika mukavasti. Mukavasti elossa. No tää ei oo mikään tämmönen nopeus. Tää on nyt tämmönen auringosta nauttimissa.
So this is now the day number 100 in the ice and in this bay. And the days have flown by like really fast.
It's almost sad that it's already spring and probably the ice will start to melt at some point.
If I could have a wish, I'd wish that we had like double the time, that we could duplicate each day.
Maybe what I've enjoyed being here the most is just being still and kind of observing the landscape change, especially the ice. It's kind of like a piece of art that just keeps on changing with each tide. What I've also really enjoyed here or being here is just peace and solitude. I know I sound like a hermit, but I really enjoy just being by ourselves and doing my own things and having time to read books and go for walks with Nova and so on.
Now it's going to be a couple more months before the ice breaks away. Hopefully it won't happen until end of May or even beginning of June. And I already feel a little bit sad that it's going to be over. At some point there will be this point when we won't be able to walk on the ice anymore. So I think that will be quite sad. Whoa! Wow, kato tätä mun. Okei, ne oli onnistuneet harjoitukset. Okay, so look, all of this ice here is caught up on this line here. So let's put the line on top of the ice and see what happens. Honestly, it doesn't really matter, but when the tide is going out, then we want to free up the lines to allow the ice to float away. Tomorrow I think it's all gonna break up. I mean, it's just so close.
We will come back for all of the anchor points. We are not gonna leave them here. Thank you so much for watching, and a little bit of secret background information about the video, a little bit of behind the scenes info, since you managed to stay this far. Obviously this video depicts our journey all the way until the end of the previous winter. And while a lot of the footage that you saw was older footage that was gathered by me throughout the years, this video was a bit of a special case because you also saw footage that was shot by our friend Ampe, who visited us in Greenland for a couple of weeks at the boat. And he also interviewed us, and he is the one who edited and put this whole video together. And while I plan to continue with kind of like a one-man concept, mostly when it comes to filming these videos, you know, it's usually just me and a couple of cameras and drones. I think it's really great to have a professional come over every now and then, because it gives me a lot of new perspective into making the videos, and it also helps me improve. And I'm pretty proud that we have been able to, you know, as a collective, have been able to hire some outside help with these videos. And I think that Ampe did a really good job. All of this, of course, would not have been possible without all of you guys watching these videos, and especially without the financial support of my patrons. So huge thanks to all of you. And if you want a great way to support the channel right now, it is by possibly getting one of my photo prints. I have the print sale going on, the holiday print sale is going on right now, and I've brought out some new prints, but I have also grudgingly brought back some prints from the previous print sales. I never planned on doing this, but I got so many requests for some specific prints that I've brought some of them back. So if you are interested in getting a print, and if you maybe missed out on one of the earlier print sales, then go and check them out at art.alluringarctic.com. The whole web store is something that I put together, and it is me who is running it, and I also personally deal with all of the orders. So this is not some kind of a third party thing that we have here. Anyway, if prints is not your thing, then you can also check out my Patreon. But that is it for now. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all again next time. Bye bye.